Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Peggy from the Pearl Forest. I'm sorry I've been away a little bit, diving into a number of projects, but we're here today. And today I'm going to be using up these page protectors, clear polypropylene page protectors. These particular ones are 8 by 10, but I do have other sizes. And since I'm using the albums for other than pictures and I don't want to slide on the page protector, I've had to come up with a use for them. So this is what they look like. And they're sealed on the top and the bottom. They're open on one end. Well, actually, they're open on two ends. So they're like that. Now, I've been using a double layer of them, but cutting them to the size that I want. And I'll show you a couple samples of what I did. These were some, don't go together, these two, but they were like a souvenir from Disneyland photo thing. And then these were photo mats. But like I said, these don't exactly go together. But I cut them so they're small enough to go on a journal page as kind of a flip out, or I can add something that'll go to the other side, because actually I guess I want them to be this way, so I'll hinge them in somewhere. And so then now I've made a clear pocket to put a tag in here. So I've glued one layer of this. And another option, instead of leaving it just clear there, I've done the same thing, but I've glued underneath this edge, on top of the clear thing, some strips of craft paper and some painted paper, and then add some other kind of decorations per whatever you would like. This edge has just been cut because it had, I had to get it down to size, but also it had something up at that end. So these are two things you can do with these. I'm going to set them over here. The other thing that I've made, and I'll run you through that. Let's see, this is just some other things that we've made previously that I'll show you another time. Okay, so, and that also is. So these are what I was making. I'm using playing cards like this and glued them onto the plastic. This batch didn't stick very well and a lot of them fell off. I'm not sure why, but it's not a big deal in the long run because of what we're doing with them. So I'll just show you what I would do. I used art glitter glue to glue these down. And I would just throw away this piece. Now I am cutting out the two pieces at the same time just because they're still stacked here, but you could cut them separate. And if you don't get it cut exactly right, you can trim a little bit more off. So this is another piece that we can use later. So I'm just going to cut these apart at the moment. So I have one side that I can cover with some kind of writable surface, and then I have one side that has this glued on. Now some of them I've glued to where this is a pocket. This one, like I said, isn't sticking as well. And then this would be on as a pocket on top, and I'll show you how I did those. Here's some that I partly decorated, and I've glued them onto some craft paper so they have a writing surface on the back. Getting some ready for our dog and cat journals. Some of these I put the face of the card up, and some of these I put the back of the card up, depending on what you would like to do. So this one I've added a digital picture, and we'll put the plastic over the top of that as our sample. Now I did not cut the corners of the cards because of the way I'm wrapping these. They're gonna come out square. So I'm just cutting these, or 90-degree corners anyway. So you would cut it down like this. You have a writing surface on the back. Let's just do 2 of them so you can see. This one, I've put a probably magazine picture on here of a dog. And this part here is going to be the inside of the pocket. Whatever you put in the pocket will go over the top of it. Need to make sure we are, yes, we are filming. So we'll finish these up at another time. And now to do the edge, which one of these sides, oh, this one, here it is. This is the top. And so this, I'm not sure what I have to use for a tag, but so this is where the tag would come in. Somehow we have a little stringy thing in there in the way. So your tag would go in here. This would be on the page, either a pocket like that, or this is the top of the writing, so it might go like this. And then it could also be a pocket here, but then a tag could go in here. And it's got the plastic. Since I have so much of it, I went ahead and put the plastic on the bottom and also the window so that you didn't catch on anything that you put down. So I'll show you how I did these, but you have to put the writing part on first. At least theoretically, it's easier. This looks like there's still a little plastic sticking up. Okay, so we have 2 to work with. This is another one for another day. Now I had a bunch of these scraps of various papers, whether they were coffee dyed or whether they were construction paper. They were just some that I cut off of different things. So I have a number of sizes. Maybe we'll make the dog blue because that's what I have extra here. So if they were this size, this is approximately half, so I needed more than 2. So I just cut this and I just eyeballed it down the middle like that. So that'll be enough for this one. And then I folded them like this, and you can use a scoreboard or just carefully kind of stick your, finger or something in them to start it, and just kind of go along until you can line the sides up. It's a little fiddly, and a scoreboard would definitely make it simpler, but sometimes things like this, that is the construction paper, actually is fragile enough that you tear it on a scoreboard unless you're very light-handed. And even doing this, you can tear it. So I just kind of went along and folded it approximately in half. Hope you guys are having a good day. We have a nice bright sunny day and dandelions galore, making all kinds of little sunshine spots. I'm actually going to go harvest some dandelion flowers later today for a number of things, some of which you'll get to see. I'm really getting excited about my traveling art studio, which I'll share that with you sometime in the near future as well. Okay, so I did cut some of the pieces and I threw them in my box here if I can find them. or I can cut another one. Here's one. So make sure it fits. Yeah. So what I'm using is the Art Glitter Glue. And first thing, you decide which side of it you want to be your pocket. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on this side. This is going to go right side up. So I just line this up along the side and I cut it. Now I'm going to need 3 of these, so I might as well just cut 3, or at least as many as I can get out of that, out of this folded one. And you could use anything that you wanted to use to wrap the edges. That'll hold all the pieces together and make it much sturdier. Whoops, it's a little extra glue there. Let's just spread that down. Whoops. So now I'm just putting glue inside this folded piece of paper. In this case, it's light blue construction paper, but you can use any kind of paper. Oops. So this is the plastic if you're putting it on, and this is the already backed back and whatever side of the card or whatever you're using. You can use a store product tag, you can use some file folders, some junk mail, whatever you have that you would like to use. And like I said, you don't have to do the plastic here. So I put this down like that. Now for the next one, I'm going to put it on the edge of the plastic. And those 2 are going to make the opening. I tried one where it just had it on the plastic and not the back, but it didn't look right on the back because it wasn't framed. Try not to get glue on your plastic. This is the trickiest part because it's, for me anyway, it's hard to see where the plastic is because it's clear and thin. So I just kind of have to do my best to get it on there. And then if you just kind of hold it and press it, it dries pretty quickly. See, now this will sit like that, and then you'll have your opening right there. Okay, now we need to fold another one. I am getting a few more albums, not albums. I start thinking scrapbook stuff, I say albums. Journals. I'm getting much more journals prepped and ready to go. But mainly we're going to be working for a while on ephemera because I have an abundance of ephemera bases and pieces, and to the point where I'm having a hard time finding room for myself in amongst all of them. So I thought we would just make a bunch. I'll make some off camera and share it with you, and then I'll make some with you. Okay, so now I like to do the opposite side. Let's see, we need to cut it again. Okay. I think these make cute little pockets or cards. It wouldn't have to be a pocket. You could stick it in a pocket. But it's kind of cute as a pocket because then it's a double pocket. And they're kind of thick with all the layers. Okay, so I'm sticking this on here and lining that up on the 2 ends, but I need to have my plastic in here too. So line up this side, and that side should line up theoretically. I think it's a tad too long, so I'm gonna snip just a little bit off. I should have checked that. Okay. Lay this down because you want it to be smooth, and fold this over. Now this is then the hinge, although we're not going to keep it as a hinge, but right now it is a hinge for this. Okay. And you lose a little bit of the edge of whatever you have, but I think that still works nice. If you have a little bit of an angle, I just put the shortest part close and then trim later. So put this one on the top. So you can see they don't take very long. You could add additional decor to the top. On the outside part, I mean. But you could also just let the whatever you're putting inside the pocket be the decor. It's a cute little dog. Okay, and then we have this one. This is just a tad too long here. See, we end up with the frame all the way around the edge. That's why we need to have this piece also. Okay, line up this. Not sure what I'm going to call these. How about page protector frame pockets? I don't know. Okay, so this is all there is to it. Oops, come on. Why is that not wanting to lay down? There we go. And with the art glitter glue, it dries quickly. I don't think you would want a kind of a glue that would not dry quickly, because it would be really hard to hold it long enough to dry. Now I cut a couple little tag sort of coffee dyed things that would fit in here. So we can put that in there and put a decoration on here. And then you can also have a tall tag that sticks up in there. So let's try this one. See if I have, well, maybe to keep, well, I don't know. Did I make it or not make it? Where's my other plastic piece? Maybe I'll just show you what I've made. This one you would put the plastic on and frame it like that one. Say we were going to use this for our page, or maybe we'll use this blue one. Would that look good with this blue one? Oops. I'm kind of leaning towards just coffee dyed because the blues don't really match as much. So this one opens on this side, so we want it to be on the page like that. But we want the outside pocket to be like for a tall tag. So I guess in that way it doesn't really matter about the writing surface and the frames around the back, although they are holding it together. So if you knew it was going to go, go on a page like this, then you could choose to not do the writing surface on the back. So this will be a nice page in one of the dog journals, although I believe they already have all their pages, so I should probably not glue them on for future ones. There'll be other ones though. So then it could have this little tag, which can be decorated later. This one, which has the writing surface, and it'll be framed. Here's some with the newsprint paper, and it has some coffee dyed, just general papers, and then a sticker with scripture. This one has the card with this side of the card like this, and it has a cat on it, and it has an opening on this side. Here's another cat one. Now this one, the plastic was a little shorter. It only came over to there, and so I just staggered these, and you can still do it, but it's a little skinnier, so it would need a smaller tag for that pocket. I was wondering if these could work in a pocket, but because I have these inchies, yeah, they could work in there nicely. And those, remember, were made with the tracing, your ink pads, your Ranger ink pads. Oops. So those can go into some of these. That one has a skinny one, so I can't do that one. This is a cat one. So you can have something in here and it's really cute, but then when you pull it out, you have a surprise inside. Here's one where I just put painted paper inside and writing on the back. And then depending on what you put inside, have an opening somewhere. Here it is. Somehow I patched this spot, which glued it closed, and I didn't see that. But we'll just snip it back open. So you can put one of these in there. It makes sort of like a little tab coming out. So that's just plain. Here's one with an outside of one of these stickers plus the sticker. It's waiting for its frame. Here's one with two of the outsides and some coffee dyed text, and it has a frame. So these are like no particular pictures. Here's two that have the coffee dyed paper and then the newsprint edging with a butterfly sticker and a butterfly sticker and a verse. This one has a little digital. I guess it goes this way. It'll go this way. I guess I can know by the talk, can't I? And then it has a script on the back. This is a composite of some script that and a little piece of paper that had a frog, and that one's matched. Here's one I used two different kinds of paper to frame it, and it's got the verse sticker plus the frame from a different one. Let's see, here's one that doesn't, oh, this is the writing surface, and it's another one of these with the painted paper. Here's another card. And we did these ones that will be finished later. And then I did some bigger ones. I just cut part of a steno pad, and I cut a big piece of plastic. I covered it with this painted paper, and I did the exact same procedure and even made colored kind of like a cardstock. that one doesn't fit. I think this is the card I cut down, so I'm going to have to trim its piece off a little bit. There was a little problem on one end, so I just cut it off. It's still a little tight. Easily fixable. You can round the corners on this later. So you can make a decorative one that goes inside. And then you can also put this down as another pocket as well. If you wanted, you could have something underneath. This one needs to be trimmed down too. I guess I didn't trim them to size. And this doesn't have, because it was just a solid paper, I didn't put the extra layer of plastic. And I will round this corner because it will go in, especially with the plastic, easier. Oops, there we go. And here's one with a printed coffee dyed paper plus a sticker. So you can see there's lots of things, and I didn't even scratch the surface of what it is that you could do with them. So I hope that gave you some ideas in case you have something like that. You can also use the party bags or page protectors that are made for 3-ring binders that you slide the papers in, or product packaging that's plastic. You can do the similar thing for them as well. So a lot of these use leftover playing cards, leftover little bits of decoration, leftover cut strips when I cut things down. Actually, a lot of the construction paper I got when I cut down 8.5 by 11 papers from 9 by 12 construction paper. And so that's what I was using those for. And the coffee dyed paper just had some little bits of decoration on it. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully you found something useful to do, and it might give you inspiration, even if you don't do exactly the same thing, for something that you have to use up around your house. Hope you have a great day. It's full of fun, creativity, and love. Take care. See you back here next time. It's Peggy from the Pearl Forest.